Single dad Janitor gave his kidney to a stranger. What he discovered about her was incredible. Paul Thompson had never imagined his life would take such a turn. As he scrubbed the floors of Maplewood General Hospital, his thoughts twisted like the mop in his hands. The decay-brown water swirled with every sweep, much like his mind, muddled with worries about Mia and the delicate future he crafted for her. She was the light in his otherwise dull world, fiercely working toward a scholarship for college, a pathway Paul had only dreamed of. He could feel the weight of responsibility pressing down on him, a familiar but unwelcome companion, whispering incessantly about the sacrifices his parents made, the struggle they endured, all so he could have a fighting chance. But at what cost? Suddenly, chaos erupted in the sterile corridors. Paul looked up, instinctively gripping the mop tighter as the figure of a nurse dashed past him. Her face was a mask of urgency, calling for immediate assistance for a girl named Emma. Paul's heart raced, not from the noise, but from instinct bending him toward action. Who was she? Why was he feeling compelled to do something he had never even considered? The flicker of fear ignited within him, but alongside it, a flicker of determination. As he overheard snippets about a kidney transplant, the gravity of her situation hit him like a punch. He hesitated for a fraction of a second, his mind spinning with all the what-ifs. What if he could save her life? What if it cost him his own? Was it possible to submit to such a notion? But wasn't everything he had ever done about making the right sacrifices for his daughter? The guilt gnawed at him as he weighed the implications of donating a kidney. He was familiar with sacrifice, but for a stranger? Would sacrificing part of himself mean losing the chance to secure Mia's future? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. As Paul navigated through the insurmountable pressure, he felt himself stepping forward. "I'll do it," he heard himself say, words tumbling out of his mouth with an unsettling finality. In those moments leading up to surgery, doubt clawed at him. Would he ultimately regret this? It would mean risking his health, his ability to support Mia, all while he stood entangled in a life he barely understood alongside Emma's affluent parents. Their gratitude almost suffocated him, as it came with silent expectations, hope that his selflessness reflected well on them too. But what about Mia? Would he be hobongerar of oportunidades, pouring himself into another's aspirations? With every visit post-surgery, as he witnessed the budding friendship between Mia and Emma, the tension intensified. They were two girls from such far-reaching worlds. Mia thrived on grit and effort, while Emma was nestled in privilege, hiding her art talent behind walls erected by others' expectations. Paul could sense the widening chasm between his values and the reality pressing upon him like a storm. As the gallery opening approached, where Emma would unveil her artistic prowess, the stakes swelled. Would the bonds forged in sacrifice be enough against the overwhelming push for ambition and validation? Standing on that precipice, he could only question whether he was enabling his daughter's dreams or stifling them. His heart told him to stay true to himself, but an inexplicable fear nestled within him about what the future held, leaving him staring into an uncertain abyss. The recovery room air was thick with uncertainty as Paul watched Emma sit up, her face transformed from a pallid mask of pain to one that slowly mirrored life's vibrant hues. She was on a path to recovery, yet the enormity of his choice loomed over him like a dark cloud. Each visit further strained the mental tug-of-war within him. Mia seemed to flourish in the wake of Emma's recovery, gaining even more confidence from her newfound friendship. But for Paul, the growing bond between the girls was a double-edged sword. Part of him took solace watching them laugh and create art together, yet another part twisted into knots at the thought that he had jeopardized Mia's future, all while they sought validation from a world he had tried to shelter them from. As the gallery opening approached, Emma poured herself into her artwork, revealing a side of her that Paul initially struggled to fathom. Her creations were raw yet poignant, steeped in emotion, drawing from her battles and privileges alike. Yet it felt as if this talent belonged not to her alone, but to a family legacy he felt completely disconnected from, as if Paul was watching from behind a glass wall. "You're a great dad, you know." Emma's words pierced through that glass wall one afternoon as they shared a quiet moment. "Mia talks about you all the time. She says you sacrifice so much." "Just trying to do right by her," Paul replied, tension seeping into his voice. "That's the thing," Emma pressed, her big dark eyes glimmering. "You're doing more than you know. The way you support her, it shows. Too many kids have parents who don't even care." His heart tightened. It was always about Mia, but now his actions were juxtaposed against another young woman's life. Had he really achieved anything meaningful beyond the surface? The looming question of whether he was empowering them or yielding to a self-destructive savior complex hung heavily in the air. Each day after that, ele found himself lost in thought as ele retorneia ao mundano ritmo do hospital, mopando flores, tendendo aos ocupantes de mundo continuamente batendo por misfortúnio. Mas beneath it all, ele dared to allow curiosity to nibble at his subconscious. What if he could learn from Emma? What could these duas girls uncover about themselves em relação ao mundo que estavam estapendo? Paul decidiu a tomar ação em vez de remaner passivo observador. As o Dal-Damar no Gallery Opening donou, ele formulou plano. Ele armaria uma conversa com Emma a respeito de como poderia ajudá-la com as apresentações, como navegar o mundo de arte e expressão. Talvez em fazendo isso, ele pudesse brilhar o divide que sentia entre seu sacrifício e seus futuros. Mesmo ele poderia wever seu narrativo de struggle entre os seus brotantes sonhos, trançando dispartes threads em uma manifesta tapeçaria de resiliência. Com cada passo talo venho àquela galeria, ansiedade eletrizitava seus veios. Depois den, shift begonou a ter raiz, reconhecimento que perdesse não se tratava apenas de sacrifício, mas da possibilidade de growth, uma chance a criar seu próprio legado quando estando beside tuas remarcáveis jovens mulheres. Mas era that very afternoon, a mesta flore de excitamento, que ele ouviu uma conversa que chateou seu nascente resolve. Emma's mother expressou seu desdém por overly emocionais peças, insinuando opiniões em o que she believed should be displayed in her daughter's gallery. A zoneira de uma vasta rede de conexões, seus verbos drumaram against Paul's heart like frantic knocking, direcionando-o a considerar Emma seu futuro como mera corrência em um mundo governado por status e valela. Would his willingness to help further entangle Mia e Emma em uma vida roteada mais em privilégio do que substância? Ou she dare to confront the harsh realities stitched into familial expectations? O momento era frágil, e a mesta trama em nervos e energia, Paul sensed something else. Uma definitiva escolha lay ahead, uma que poderia alterar não só seu curso, mas theirs as well. Would he step into the fray e challenge these forces, ou retroceder ao protetivo shadow de sacrifício? As the gallery doors preparates to open, ele felt the pole of destiny tightening his grip on him. Unwavering doubt met burgeoning resolve, seted ele stage for a confrontation that would bring hidden truths to light. Would he rise at the occasion e reclamar seu narrativo, ou falter under the weight of expectations? Antes dele tomar o primeiro passo, a faint voice de Mia echoed in his mind. You have to fight for what matters most, Dad. A time had come to face a legacy of sacrifice e ambition head-on, e pela primeira vez, Paul fez o flicker de coragem vigaten against his fears that had haunted him. A gallery buzzed with life, vibrant colors splashed across the walls that held testament to Emma's journey. The soft hum de chatter merged with the clinking of glasses, but Paul felt distinctly isolated within the chaos. Each person he passed held a degree of affiliation to Emma's mother, friends, patrons, and those in the art world who draped themselves in layers of pretense. He shifted uncomfortably, not only in the presence of the disconcerting ambience, but within himself. Could he find value here? Throughout the room, paintings adorned with emotion reached out like reluctant hands. They beckoned him to confront the expectations of the familiar and the unfurling potential he sensed in Emma and Mia. What if he could leverage their talents to question social norms, privilege, and emotional expression? But mingled within this hopeful urgency lay a growing trepidation. Emma's mother still loomed large in the back of his mind, her disdain penetrating any desire to stand proudly beside her daughter. Determination coursed through Paul as he navigated the gathering. He scanned the crowd for Emma, wanting to connect, to share his support, his involvement, and perhaps a piece of himself that he had long overlooked. Their past conversations echoed, each infused with revelations that both encouraged and puzzled him. He was her father figure, her champion, yet he had avoided the direct terrain of her world. He finally spotted her, positioned near a canvas adorned with vivid strokes of anguish and joy, a contradictory blend of her struggles and triumphs. The glow of confidence in her stance momentarily soothed his anxiety. Pushing through instinctive self-doubt, he approached with resolve growing inside him like sunlight breaking through clouds. "Emma," he began, his voice steadier than he anticipated, I had an idea about how we could work together on your presentation. Maybe we can discuss the stories behind your pieces, help frame them in a way that resonates beyond just the art. It can be your voice." Her eyes widened, and for a brief moment he wondered if he had overstepped. Yet she smiled, a genuine warmth that washed over the uncertainty lingering between them. "I would love that, but," she hesitated, taking a deep breath, "my mom's going to want things her way. She has a vision, and it doesn't always leave room for my truth." Paul's stomach twisted. This was the crux of it, the very thing that plagued him, a tension between what should matter versus the oppressive grasp of expectations. It felt like a mirror reflecting not just Emma, but himself. Perhaps he had too often been a product of others' desires rather than his authentic self. "Then we fight for it, together," he said, infusing his tone with newfound assertiveness. "You have a powerful story, and now is the moment to confront those expectations. You can't let anyone define your art or your journey, not your mom, not anyone." Emma looked at him, astonished and invigorated. She squeezed his arm in solidarity. "You really think so?" "I know so," he pressed. "That could ruin everything for me." Paul's heart ached. He understood the fear, the losing everything. It was a tether that many people carried. "What's worse?" he asked gently. "Losing her support or losing yourself? The art you create is an expression of you. You can't hide that, and you shouldn't have to." Emma's lips pursed, a whirlpool of thoughts forming in her eyes as she processed his words. His earlier resoluteness felt distant, like a mirage in the heat of the moment. Yet, amid the swirling chaos of his emotions and the overarching presence of Emma's mother, clarity began to crystallize. What if he drew from that clarity himself, challenging his inner fears? The conversation draped the gallery in an unexpected stillness. Paul took a deep breath, readying himself for the confrontation ahead. He needed to act, to embody the change he had urged Emma to embrace. The true fight was not just for Emma's autonomy, it was also a battle for his own reclamation. "Emma, I'll be right here with you," he promised, his voice steadying. She looked up at him, and for a heartbeat their gazes locked in a silent alliance forged by years of struggle, support, and awakening. Drawing a deep breath, Paul stepped forward, eyes focused on Emma's mother. "Excuse me, I think we need to have a conversation about what art really is." The abruptness of his tone caught everyone's attention, murmurs rising like waves across the room. He sensed the double-edged suspense of the moment. The need to protect Emma sparked an intrepid spirit inside him. How had he allowed himself to be reverent to authority when he had so much to say? Art isn't simply about pleasing an audience, it's a reflection of the artist's deepest truths. If we only curate for the sophisticated, we lose the magic and rawness that make it resonate on a human level. He could hardly believe the words spilling from his mouth, fueled by the determination that surged through him. Emma's mother's expression transformed from disbelief to indignation. "You dare to lecture me about my daughter's future? You are merely a janitor with a misguided sense of involvement." Her dismissal stung, the air feeling thick with silent gasps from patrons overhearing the confrontation. But Paul was not just a janitor. That role had kept him hidden, but now it was time to stand taller against perceived limitations. "No, I'm her advocate," he declared fiercely, locking eyes with her. "And I won't let you silence either her voice or mine anymore." Emma's gradual smile reflected in his periphery, and he felt buoyed by her solidarity. This moment of clarity was unnerving liberating. It was exhilarating, but equally harrowing to confront these fears. The gallery held its breath, the atmosphere charged with anticipation. Paul sensed that this breach of the status quo would either fortify or fracture their tenuous connection. But beneath that rising tension lay a revelation, an unearthing of hidden strength and identity. What awaited him in the fallout des confrontation? Fue he truly prepared por des consecuencias, or would he once again slip back into the shadows he had fought so hard to escape? The moment loomed ahead like a tempest ready to unleash its fury, and Paul battened down for the storm. In that charged silence, he teetered on the edge of transformation, unaware of just how deeply this clash might shape the future of both him and Emma. Paul's heart raced as he prepared himself for the inevitability of retaliation. He had opened a door he wasn't sure he could shut. Emma's mother's gaze bore down on him, a mixture of suffocating disapproval and wounded pride, and he realized that he had become more than a mere spectator in this moment. He was forging his own identity, refusing to allow the rigid framework of someone else's expectations to define him. "Your advocacy is misplaced," Emma's mother snapped, her voice slicing through the murmur of disbelief that hung in the air. "You think you understand art, but you know nothing of commerce and success." Paul felt a swell of emotion. The struggle each artist faced often teetered on the delicate balance between authenticity and survival. He recognized the truth in her words, but he also knew that success built solely on compromise would ultimately lead to regret. He had danced in the shadows long enough. "What I understand, Mrs. Hastings, is that art must come from a place of honesty," he asserted, surprising himself with the fierceness of his own conviction. "And that honesty can't be eroded by financial pressures or societal perceptions." In that moment, Paul caught sight of Emma, her brow furrowed, her delicate features still reflecting uncertainty. Yet, as the words continued to surge from his lips, he noticed a flicker of recognition in her eyes. He realized that it was not just Emma who needed to find her voice, it was also his own realization of worth. Each moment spent in the shadows had compounded into either a collective burden or a cherished forewarning of the man he could become. "Let me ask you this," he continued, turning back to Emma's mother with renewed resolve. "What do you want for your daughter? To have galleries filled with paintings that please the elite, or for her to create work that echoes in the hearts of those who truly resonate with her experience?" The silence that followed felt like an eternity as the patrons in the gallery leaned in, faces illuminated by the tension of the unfolding drama. Paul's palms sweaty, the stakes rising with each passing second. He began to realize the roots of fear that had bound him. Fear of confrontation, fear of judgment, and ultimately, fear of self. "Do you see, Mrs. Hastings?" he pressed, speaking to that crack in her armor. "Those who create must give themselves to their work.
If Emma conforms to your demands, she loses herself completely. You will drive her into a box where she will languish, not thrive.
This adept to their work. If Emma conforms to your demands, she loses herself completely. You will drive her into a box where she will languish, not thrive. The parent's visage flickered with violence and the hint of reflection, a clear challenge to her own fears about losing control. "You think you know her?" she spat. But Paul recognized the tremor beneath her accusations, grief mingled with anger. "I don't presume to know your pain or your intentions," he replied, voice brimming with sincerity. "But I do know this. To love someone means to celebrate their authenticity. What I see in Emma is untamed potential, a spirit unchained by your expectations. Allow her to create freely, and she will show you the world through her eyes." At that moment, a crack began to surface in Emma's mother's steely facade, a tiny, reluctant recognition that perhaps control was not synonymous with protection. The room pulsed with the electric aftermath of Paul's words, a collective breath held, waiting for the next beat. Paul felt a swell of purpose, emboldened by the unexpected depth of his own voice. He no longer saw himself solely as a janitor adrift in this world of aesthetics, but as a burgeoning advocate for truth and self-expression. The realization of his own convictions was both foreign and exhilarating. However, this exchange had ignited something within him that he couldn't ignore, a craving for his own transformation. He wasn't just an advocate for Emma, he was also learning to advocate for himself and his dreams. The energy around him shimmered, charged with the potential for a profound shift. But what would this newfound courage demand of him? Would he be ready to confront the waves of doubt that threatened to pull him under? As the atmosphere thickened with possibility, Paul stood on the precipice, knowing that this moment, a moment of radical honesty, would shape his journey far beyond the gallery walls. "Let me show you what art can mean. Let me help you see," he whispered to himself, and the intoxicating thought lingered, leaving him breathless at the sheer weight of the path ahead. Could he truly endure the challenges this would entail, and cross the threshold into a world he both feared and desired? With a deep breath, Paul stood at the crossroads of uncertainty and ambition. The gallery buzzed with anxious energy, yet inside he felt a quiet storm brewing. His heart raced, not just from the confrontation, but from the undeniable realization that this was a turning point, not just for Emma, but for himself. The stares of the patrons weighed heavily on him, sharp and inquisitive. He sensed the invisible thread connecting them to him, as if they too were ruefully aware of their own struggles against conformity. It struck him then, his voice had power. They were not only witnesses, they were participants in this silent ballet of compromise and aspiration. What next, he thought, the question echoing in the emptiness of his mind as he jogged through his options. Standing firm amid turmoil was daunting, and he was aware that he was still at the mercy of his long-standing fears. The very conflict he had just navigated urged him to confront deeper questions about his life, desires, and purpose. Emma's apprehensive face danced at the fringe of his thoughts, fueling his determination. He had opened a door, and there would be no closing it without consequences. As he looked into the sea of faces, some intrigued and some disapproving, he recalled the countless hours cleaning floors in the galleries and studios. He thought of each brushstroke he had admired, each artist's overcome struggle he had witnessed. His hands had been used to polish art displays, but what if they could shape his own artistic journey? Paul felt an insatiable itch to explore creativity, to turn his observations into actions. Could he rise beyond his circumstances? He had spent so long tending to the aspirations of others, now he needed to cultivate his. The idea both thrilled and terrified him. He felt a flicker of self-doubt, accompanied by the nagging notion that he was unworthy of stepping into a world where creativity and ambition flourished. This thorny inner dialogue consumed him as he watched Emma navigate her own crossroads. Would she take the quick route, the one that satisfied her mother and the world, or would she embrace her truth? The thought pushed him to his limits, to choose authenticity over comfort. Resolute, he resolved to approach Emma not just as a friend or an ally, but as a collaborator. They would intersect their journeys in a way that would illuminate their shared passion for art. But first, he had to unearth his own creative inclinations. The thought sent momentum racing through his veins. There was no room for self-pity now. He had a future to sculpt. He didn't want to be merely the janitor, a man defined only by the sweeping of floors. He could be the voice that channeled the unfiltered expression of both his and Emma's artistry. But what would that entail? It would mean facing rejection, navigating the competitive art world, and perhaps even risking his emerging bond with Emma as they explored their connection through their artwork. His internal battle waged on, but amid the chaos he felt clarity. If he could take a stand for Emma's freedom, could he not do the same for his own artistic identity? The answer surged within him, a stubborn fire that refused to be quenched. And so he made a plan. He would begin attending workshops, immersing himself in art discussions, and seeking opportunities, even if it meant embracing vulnerability. Perhaps along the way he would discover unfamiliar talents or hidden perspectives, unlocking doors he had previously deemed irretrievable. Yet, just as the resolve began to anchor him, a random comment from Mrs. Hastings pierced through his thoughts, leaving a lingering chill behind. "Are you prepared to deal with the repercussions, Mr. Paul? This isn't a game." It echoed, the weight of her words pressing down with a visceral familiarity.
Picturing the scattered days spent sweeping floors, the anonymity and proper cleaning attire felt less forgiving now. Those days had been a refuge, but could not last forever. What if being open makes me weak? What if it shatters everything I've built? He asked, a tremor of anxious self-preservation slipping through. "Vulnerability isn't weakness, Paul," she said, her demeanor unwavering. "In fact, it's strength. Think of the courage it takes to open yourself up. That's not easy. But you can transform that fear into something beautiful, something that others can relate to. Her steadfast conviction sent a jolt through him. Maybe this wasn't just about him anymore. Perhaps this was also about creating a space where others recognized bits of themselves in his struggle and triumph. He could take the stepping stones of waves he'd faced and ride them towards new shores of understanding. Still, he hesitated. The risk loomed above him like a storm cloud, potent and dark. What if he fumbled the opportunity and shattered that fragile connection with Emma? What if she looked at him not as an emerging artist, but as a collection of blemishes and scars? He steadied a breath, connecting with the fear. What if it becomes too much? What if I lose control? Then you adapt, she said, unfazed. This is a part of the journey. You don't have to have everything figured out right now. Start with your story and let it unfold in layers, like your painting. Her reassuring words anchored him. Perhaps embracing uncertainty could be the first brushstroke of a larger story. Maybe he could show those parts, the darkness, the desperation, the light he'd found since. The explosion of colors on his canvas was a prelude, a mere snapshot of the broader narrative just waiting to be revealed. Feeling emboldened, he leaned forward, curiosity mingling with determination. What do you suggest I do next? Emma's eyes sparkled with excitement. Let's challenge you. Write about where you've been. Capture your fears and your dreams. Use the brush as your pen. The prospect struck him like a lightning bolt, igniting his imagination. A partnership poised to breathe life into his next steps. The choice of whether to turn his words into vibrant expressions laid before him. The silence lingered as they both absorbed the potential, each pulse in the room synchronized with newfound ambition. But as Paul's mind raced with possibilities, a nagging thought clawed at the edges of his consciousness. How far was he willing to reach into his past? Hadn't he once vowed to abandon those shadows forever? The pivotal moment hung in the air, giving rise to something monumental just beyond reach, yearning to be unleashed. What if the very fears he sought to evade become the source of his transformation? The dichotomy between holding on and letting go drew tighter, presenting a decision not just about art, but about himself.
What awaited him if he dared to journey deeper into the shadows, and would he truly be able to emerge into the light? Paul stood at the threshold of his newfound identity, fueled by the energy radiating between him and Emma. The invitation to share his story not only stirred his creativity, but also tethered him deeper into the fabric of their burgeoning relationship. As the realization dawned that his journey as an artist mirrored his life's challenges, he felt a sense of purpose glimmering ahead. With every stroke of paint and every word he penned, Paul transformed his apprehensions into a compelling narrative that began to take shape. He committed to creating a series entitled Emergence, a visual reflection of his evolution from solitude to empowerment. This series would intertwine his experiences as a janitor with the vigor of his artistic awakening, essentially marrying the two aspects of his life that had once felt so disparate. As the days unfolded, he meticulously honed his craft, each canvas a cathartic release of pent-up emotion.
He poured hours into understanding color theory and composition, invaluable lessons gleaned not just from workshops, but from immersing himself in the depths of his own experiences. This wasn't merely about aesthetics. It was about articulating a narrative that resonated with authenticity. Paul began to seek validation not solely from Emma or others in the art community, but from within, recognizing the importance of self-acceptance. The more he painted, the more he uncovered layers of resilience hidden beneath the veneer of insecurity. He no longer felt like an imposter, but rather a burgeoning artist with a palpable message. The brush became an extension of his voice, and every canvas stood as a testament to his journey, a vivid celebration of transformation. In moments of vulnerability, he would share his pieces with Emma. Their discussions ventured into deeper realms where both their struggles and aspirations seamlessly intertwined. Emma's encouragement fostered an unshakable bond, revealing how growth could flourish when authenticity anchored relationships. Together, they became each other's champions, forging a friendship that transcended mere support. They nurtured a shared dream of authenticity that echoed within the very art they created. As the series' emergence neared completion, Paul received an unexpected email from a local gallery where Emma's work had previously garnered attention. They invited him to showcase his art alongside Emma's in an upcoming exhibition. The news blindsided him. This was it, the opportunity to embrace his identity and share his story with the world that had once felt so intimidatingly distant. Embarking on this new chapter pushed Paul into a whirlwind of excitement and fear. But unlike before, the looming apprehension no longer paralyzed him. Instead, it propelled him to step into the gallery space, his heart swelling with anticipation.
He was no longer merely the invisible janitor. He was Paul Thompson, an artist whose narrative demandato to be seen. On the night the exhibition, as pulses of vibrant energy flowed through the room, Paul stood proud beside his artworks. The canvases resonated with the revelations he had birthed through the struggle for identity and acceptance. He watched as visitors engage with his pieces, feeling the weight of validation in each nod and whispered compliment. Amidst the sea of faces, he spotted Emma, her eyes shining brightly as she guided guests to his work. Their friendship had blossomed into a partnership that amplified their voices. The realization washed over him. He had surpassed his own expectations and stepped into the glorious light of his identity. That night, he learned the essence of his journey wasn't just about hitting milestones or overcoming fears. It was about embracing every facet of self in the pursuit of authenticity. He had emerged not only as an artist, but as a confident, unapologetic man who dared to fight and reclaim his space. He witnessed how shared truths could foster courage and solidarity, driving both him and Emma forward. As the evening came to a close, surrounded by laughter and encouragement, Paul felt an exhilarating surge of fulfillment. No longer trapped within the confines of a single identity, he had woven his narrative into a vibrant tapestry that resonated with the truths of many. He realized
that authenticity could craft bridges, transcending the boundaries that had once felt insurmountable. He took one last look at his artwork, feeling a profound sense of accomplishment and pride settle within him. This was his journey, forged through struggle and transformed into strength. It imbued him with a solid confidence, and he knew he could continue to cultivate his identity through every stroke of the brush, every word he shared. As he departed the gallery, Emma by his side, Paul understood that this was just the beginning. A renewed sense of self pulsed through him, emboldening him to share his art and story further. His voice had taken shape, and he was ready to let it be heard. Now was the time to encourage others to recognize their own narratives. Those stories were worth telling, no matter where they came from. And so, in this newfound certitude, his dedication to create a legacy of authenticity and empowerment shone brighter than ever before. You need to subscribe now to our channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories that inspire transformation like Paul's. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm that helps spread these powerful messages. Comment your reactions and theories about how Paul's journey touched you personally. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion and witness the power of authenticity.